Max Verstappen is known to be one of the best drivers in the world, but he is probably also known by a lot of you as being very aggressive on the track too. Ever since Max joined the sport back in 2016, on the track he has been very hard with drivers when racing wheel to wheel, with some of it being fair and sometimes he has gone over the top, to say the least. Ever since he won the championship in controversial fashion at the final lap of the final race in 2021, Max has been in very few battles, but when he has, it has caused a lot of drama. His first wheel-to-wheel battle in 2022 with his old rival in Lewis Hamilton in Brazil showed how Max is still capable of being a little bit silly on the track. Over the years, there has been a lot of talk about the state of racing and how drivers get punished for racing wheel to wheel, and how the sport has gone somewhat soft in recent years. Well, Verstappen is the polar opposite of this, and he leaves no margin on the track. But this has come into the light after the race in Baku recently, where he had a little coming together with Russell in the sprint race. In today's video, we will talk about how Verstappen was being hypocritical in Baku for some hard racing, how he may have improved since 2021 in being a more mature driver, and finally, how the FIA need to step in and make more clear rules. Let's get right into it. To start off with, we're going to talk about how Verstappen is being hypocritical for the racing that happened in the sprint race at Baku. Russell and Verstappen had a wheel-to-wheel battle on the first lap of the sprint race, where the two got very close, which caused Verstappen to get significant damage to the side of his car. The racing was deemed fair by the FIA and the stewards, but as we heard over the team radio, Verstappen was furious with Russell for how he raced him. After the race, Verstappen and Russell exchanged some words, and Max was very annoyed, and he had some words for George that we will not repeat here, to say the least. But this has sparked a lot of discussion about how Verstappen has no leg to stand on due to how he has been aggressive on the track and leaving no space for the other drivers in the past. There have been several occasions in recent memory where Max has not given room when he probably should have. One of these was just at the end of 2022, where Max would get close with Hamilton coming out of turn 1, but Max left no room and he just turned in on Lewis. There have been other occasions too where Max has not left any room for a driver and caused damage to them or just shoved them off the track. So, is it really fair for Max to be angry at Russell for this collision, as he is a driver who does the exact same thing himself? Of course, he can be angry about the damage to his car, which reportedly cost him up to half a second per lap, but if we're being honest, he cannot be angry at other drivers for being aggressive on the track at all. Max is known for being very old school in how he speaks off track, but also on track. He gives a lot of the older generation reminders of the late Ayrton Senna. On track, Max wants to win, and ever since he was a little kid, he has been taught to fight for every position on track so that he can be the best and be a world champion. Max leaves little room for most drivers he races against, and he always talks about how it was hard racing but fair. However, when anybody does anything similar against him, he spits his dummy out, as Russell said after the incident between the two. Even when you look back to earlier on in the season when he and Hamilton were battling for position, he thought Lewis should have been punished. Even though what he did was fair, and it is exactly what Verstappen does by pushing drivers almost fully off the track to gain a position. Max is without a shadow of a doubt the best driver on the grid right now, and will go down as the GREAT. But sometimes he is very hypocritical about how he goes against something but does the exact same thing on the track. What are your thoughts on the matter? Whose side are you on? The side of Russell about how Verstappen spat his dummy out? Or are you with Max and believe that Russell should have been punished by the stewards for the damage that he caused in Baku? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Our next topic is in a positive light about Max Verstappen and how, ever since 2021, he's become a more mature driver on the track. Max, through the whole of the 2021 season, seemed like he had learned a lot. It was the first time in his career he had the car to be racing at the top for every single race. He of course won the championship in a controversial fashion, but the history books will always say he won the championship, and ever since he has looked better than ever. Max, in the past, would make errors that would cost him massively in the past. However, in 2022, he showed little of this. Yes, he has a few spins, but he did not have them to the point where he lost out on a win. He didn't have crashes that caused him not to finish. He had a near perfect season all year, which led him to cruise to his second World Championship in a record-breaking style. 2021 was a year where he learned a lot about fighting at the top, and he clearly has carried those skills over to the first 2 years, where he has, for the most part, been perfect. Most of the time when you watch a race and Verstappen is leading, you never see him due to him just getting the laps in and leading the race with no drama at all. For a lot of drivers in the past, winning the first World Championship is the most important part of their legacy, and it sets them up for greatness. This for sure is the case for Max Verstappen, who seems to have improved more and more since 2021. Yes, he does have the car to win all these races and championships, but in the past, he may not have been able to capitalise on what he has underneath him now. He has matured much more. He seems much more relaxed as he does not have as much to prove anymore, as he is the current double world champion and will probably end this season with a third unless Sergio Perez can beat him, which could be a massive accomplishment. Overall, it is fair to say that Max has matured a lot in recent years, but will he be able to win the championship this year? Guess we'll all have to wait and find out. Our final topic is surrounding the FIA and how they may have to step in and make more clear rules when it comes to wheel-to-wheel racing between drivers. We have heard Max on several occasions and other drivers talk about the rules and how they are just not clear enough and the punishments are not being given out correctly. For a lot of drivers, they believe that the rules are not being followed the same for every single incident, where sometimes they will be punished and sometimes they will not be. Some drivers, they believe that they maybe do not know how to race on the track because the rules are so unclear for them to understand. For us fans too, it's very confusing too, as we do not know what is right and what is wrong for the drivers to do. It is something that the FIA have to make very clear sooner rather than later, before we have more drivers being annoyed at not knowing what to do when racing wheel to wheel with other drivers. Overall, it has to be said that the FIA have to come in and make the rules more clear for the fans and also drivers, more importantly regarding overtaking and any wheel-to-wheel action. However, we know that the FIA are very prone to making mistakes and not changing rules when they should be. We will have to wait and see if they do anything regarding this in the near future. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this one.